psychological value creation. Okay, so we've touched on the value of mining psychology to help with constructing our value equation, our ABCD. Now let's look at more factors that we can use to get the equation looking exactly the way we want, so we can convince our customer stakeholders to make the right choice and buy our product or service. We're going to look at these 5 elements: risk-taking, relative value, the top trumps effect, the attraction effect, and the all-important and often forgotten value of timing. So first, risk-taking and the asymmetry around risk and reward. When you focus on the size of the prize, you almost automatically lose sight of the risk. We always choose the big prize. It's why the lottery sells so many tickets every week. Likewise, if you focus on the risk, then the prize becomes almost irrelevant. And that's why people who understand statistics understand the risk around the lottery and don't buy lottery tickets every week. This gives you a clear task. Get customers to focus on the advantages of the new world and the risk of the old world and doing nothing about it. Remember that we avoid risk when there is a possible gain involved, but we embrace risk when we are trying to avoid losses. For example, if I ask you to take £5 now, or flip a coin, where heads get you nothing, tails get you £10, most people will just take the £5 now and not flip the coin. They'll go for the certainty. However, if I reverse that proposition, such that you have to give me £5 now, or flip a coin, where you don't have to give me anything if it's heads, but you have to give me £10 if it's tails, well, in that case, everyone will take the bet, because there is at least a chance that they don't have to give me anything. Now let's talk about relative value. And the best way to explain this, again, is with an example. An extra 5 minutes queuing at the counter for your morning coffee is going to make you very, very tense. And yet an extra day on a 30-day lead time doesn't really feel like a big thing at all. And so it's better to make offers to your customer using the items that are cheaper in the deal, so that the relative value of your offer appears bigger. For example, discounting the carpets and curtains whilst leaving the price of a house as it is in a house sale. If you reduce the price of the house by that same amount as the carpet and curtains, which is usually a few £100s, the buyer just wouldn't care. Remember to choose your comparator well. The frame of reference you provide for the customer against which they look at your pricing is vital to maximise your price. Get creative. For example, rather than just looking at other products similar to your own, choose to compare your service or product with investing a similar amount of money in a new car park, an extra staff, the company advertising campaign, anything that you know is expensive, well funded and difficult to value. Absolutely. I once compared the new warehouse costs to the cost of a CEO buying himself a new yacht, and how could he possibly argue with that? A great example of this idea of moving the class of comparison is when we compare coffee from, say, Starbucks with coffee from another cafe. Now, either way, you're going to pay a ridiculous amount for it compared to the instant coffee that you can get from home. But if you were selling instant coffee and could compare it successfully to the Starbucks experience, then you would sell a lot of that coffee. Next, the top trumps effect. Now, just in case you don't know, top trumps is a card game that kids play, where you choose one statistic on your card to compare against the similar statistic on your competitor's car. Say you compare the top speed of the car on your card with theirs, and the best number wins both cards. Similarly, choose the measure you compare for your product according to your competitor and what you think is their weak point. Back to our coffee example. You choose taste for comparison against instant coffee, but you would choose price we're comparing to another brand coffee. We choose from the options that are in front of us. So we will choose the best Bentley if we only shop in the Bentley showroom. But if we shop on the internet, then we're going to choose from 50, 100 or 1,000 brands. Limit the choices your customer sees by choosing what you compare your product to. And then you can funnel them down into making the right decision to buy your product or service. Next, the attraction effect. Now, this is a curious effect, but it's really powerful. If you can position your customers' options between a high quality, high price item and a low price, low quality item, then you can use this effect. Introduce a third option. Say a slightly higher priced but lower quality car. Automatically the customer will choose the original low price, low quality car. But if instead you introduce a lower quality, higher price car, they will choose the original high quality, high price car. The comparator makes all the difference in this case. And finally, the value of timing. Sell me a cake when I'm hungry and I'll pay you a premium. But sell it to me when I'm not hungry and I probably won't even look at it. Perhaps restaurants should get you to choose your dessert before the main course. Now in business-to-business selling, this means to always be aware of the customer's tender cycle, when your customer's current contracting arrangements are coming up for renewal and when they're getting ready to buy again. You need to be talking to them well in advance of that tender being published. Ideally, you can either stop the tender going public at all, or even help them to write it, so that your solution is naturally favoured because it was the template for the one described in the tender. Either way, make sure you sell when your customer's buying. So there you have 5 really important psychological techniques to use when you're constructing your value equation, your ABCD.